started. So the idea is really, really, really simple. If you've ever experienced the office hours concept at a university system, we're just trying to bring that out into the community, but also add some technology to make it a little bit better. So the idea is a more open and more connected community. So a quick use case is Arnold here might jump on BNmentors.com if that's what we decide to stick with, and create office hours. And in there he'd select, oh, I'm gonna create office hours the first Tuesday of every month from 8 to 9 a.m. And here are my skills, right? And here are my expertise and my kind of areas of expertise. And let's say Michael gets on and he searches for entrepreneurship, and that's one of Arnold's, or venture capital, or angel investor network. And so Arnold and I both pop up, and he sees my office hours, but he sees Arnold's, and that fits with his schedule. He's hosting them at the Coffee House, so it needs to have a location too. He selects, I want to meet with you, Arnold. Maybe a message thing pops up and says, why? He types in a message. Arnold gets the message. Arnold can say, I'll take the meeting or I won't, right? And then Michael gets notified. And then the date before, like, the office hour slot gets taken, because it needs to be taken off of being available anymore, the system would send out a little simple reminder, maybe confirming that everyone's going to be there, just so it's like a successful meeting and people aren't getting stood up. So the idea for posting them out there, because it'd be easy to just create a website where people post their office hours, right? And they message and that kind of thing. But in order to get more engagement from like busy people in the community, not to say Arnold's busy, but like if we want to get, you know, Kurt Bach from Country to create office hours once a month for the community, we want to make sure if he's like, not that there wouldn't be someone taking him up on that, but they don't have to go sit at the Coffee Hound from 8 to 9 every Tuesday morning if no one has said, I want to meet you there. You know what I mean? So they're not like, they're committing to give, let's say, an hour a month, that kind of thing, but they don't necessarily have to be there if no one reserves the spot, if that makes sense. One thing is I'd like for it to be recurring. So the idea of just going on there and creating office hours every time you want to have office hours is cool, but again, that's kind of involved, and from the saying, hey, we want the mentors to come and do this, you know, it'd be cool if they could just get on there once, create it, and it's just a recurring thing. They never really have to go back to the site. They're just kind of like saying yes or saying no and saying, yeah, I'll be there through email. So that's the pretty basic idea. Does anyone have like any questions on it? Because the more questions you ask, the more kind of fleshed out it'll probably be. It's pretty simple, right?
Yeah.
What's that?
Surely. What's our closest replication?
Yeah, so ohours.org did this and then shut down.
Oh.
Yeah. So they were for profit and they were trying to make money on it, and it was free for everybody. But then if you wanted to have like a community cluster, what we're trying to do, then you had to pay like through the nose for it, right? So at ISU, we paid some like $2,000 a month just to have like isu.ohours.org, which only listed mentors in our network, and we could promote to people in our community so that when they were typing in entrepreneurship, they weren't getting people in Canada and people all across the world, because they did like virtual Skype type stuff too, right? So we're trying to just create this like cluster of it just for our community, and I built it like 2 years ago, just a super simple like WordPress front end that interfaced with ohours.org, and then ohours.org like canceled and hit the tank, right? And so the whole ohours.org community rose up and was like, don't do it, just hand over the code to somebody. And the ohours.org just went dark, and there was a whole like, what's a good solution? Who's gonna build another thing? And it just kind of went nowhere. And so there was a great example of it, but it doesn't seem like there's anything out there currently that does it. So that's kind of like the closest thing. You would think someone would do it. I hope that someone has it and we can't just like sign up for the thing or something. But I haven't found it. I've like closely followed that community and haven't found it. So, any other questions?
So should one of the things we be thinking about is, you know, how we can add value or make a value proposition with the program. So for example, let's say the Bloomington Normal Angel Investor Network or the Slingshot Co-workspace wants to sponsor the event or sponsor the community on any given month, or maybe Country wants to sponsor it for a month. Is there a way that we can integrate that so it's kind of financially viable longer term.
Right, because we're all getting together today, right? But if I call you like 4 months from now and say, oh, that thing is not working, can you just like fix it? You're gonna be like, don't call me ever again, right? You know what I mean? Like, it's really great that you guys are volunteering your time, but I think what Arnold's saying is what if we build in like a simple place to put someone's logo, and then at least like the Slingshot community can make sure that that's getting like taken once a month, just to pay some of you all to keep this thing on the tracks maybe as 2 years from now, right? Because you guys, it's like you've been really generous and said, hey, I'm gonna come to the hackathon for at least a day or whatever, and we would hate to overextend your generosity. So that's a good idea. It's something that's a great idea to consider. Any other like questions on what is this idea?